Welcome, everyone. I am so glad that you decided to join me today to talk about IT transformation and how we at this little-known company called Home Depot are using data to empower our own. I am Candace Knight. I'm a senior IT business analyst, and I'm with the IT infrastructure and engineering portfolio. I provide business intelligence and customer delivery services to the organization through the strategy alignment arm of our portfolio. So if you think that I am cool enough to keep in touch, or you want to swap stories about your organization's transformative journey, you can reach me at my email or hit me up at LinkedIn. We will have a Q&A block at the end of the session, but I thought it would be a cool idea to allow you guys to submit questions through a mobile app. You can reach it on the internet via your phone, via your computers. You'll just navigate over to slido.com and enter the event code P811. You can submit your questions there, and then at the end, when I start the Q&A block, I'll answer the questions, and if you have any more, we'll go through those. Okay, so if you can't already tell, I am incredibly nervous, but I think I have some cool things to talk to you guys about today. So I'm gonna try and channel my inner Talithia Williams and cover the following topics. We're going to talk about Home Depot. We are actually a DIY technology company. We'll talk about how IT infrastructure supports the business. We'll talk a little bit about business relationship management and the new offering that we have in infrastructure. We'll talk about the IT industry's transformative journey. We'll talk about fueling organizational maturity with data, identifying process automation opportunities, and what does this mean to our customers. So since 1979, the Home Depot has been the top name in home improvement and the pioneer of the DIY industry. Now, when you think of Home Depot, I'd like you to begin to think about a leading technology company whose DIY entrepreneurial spirit spills over into the investment that we put into our innovation and technology in our 2,200 stores, online presence, and our data centers. With hundreds of homegrown apps, tools, and billions of assets, our IT infrastructure organization is transforming ourselves to become the foundation for innovation whose improvements can be felt in our stores. Now, as retail customers, we often take for granted the investments that companies put into their technology stacks in support of us, the end users. Since we opened our doors, we have made several innovative technological leaps centered around providing the best experience for our customers in our stores. Some of the more recent and noteworthy items are, in 2011, we introduced Buy Online, Pick Up in Store, offering our customers the ability to browse from the comfort of their own homes, figure out what they need, go right into the store and pick it up. In 2014, we began our new approach to enabling a One Home Depot infrastructure strategy. So we started off on our software engineering transformative journey. And in 2015, we implemented Buy Online, Deliver from Store, so you never have to get off the comfort of your couch. But what I'm going to focus on today is from 2015 and beyond. We began our IT infrastructure transformation with the goal of optimizing our services and operations to deliver faster, better, more resilient solutions to our IT customers. So what does One Home Depot mean to IT infrastructure? It means that we're shining a spotlight on our customers' needs to help us determine the right technology investments and solutions. We want to give our customers confidence in our ability to support their needs while allowing them the space to be innovative. That means providing a resilient foundation that can absorb disruptions with no real impacts to the stability or performance of our business operations. We need our customers and our website up and running full-time, accepting payments and we need our stores and our website up and running full-time, accepting payments and continuing to fuel our business. One of my favorite things about the Home Depot is how we do things. So at the Home Depot, our culture is centered around our value wheel. Within infrastructure, we have selected 3 of the of the valuable components to really focus on how we are going to deliver our IT transformation. The first is efficient strategic spending. So we want to be responsible for forecasting and the strategic allocation of funding to benefit the company over time. This helps us to really create shareholder value. We want to focus on empathy and collaboration. It's our business to understand our customers' needs and offer relevant guidance and through the complexities of our infrastructure. This helps us to deliver excellent customer service. And it's our responsibility to be responsive and proactive. Our service mentality helps our partners deliver innovative solutions for the company. This helps us build strong relationships. After careful consideration of all the overall business and our IT portfolio customers' needs, the strategy alignment team landed on a mission statement. We will facilitate the infrastructure of one organization's strategic decision-making process. We'll provide a single pane of glass for the portfolio of products which optimizes costs, customer service, communication, and alignment. So what does that look like for IT infrastructure to support the business? Well, when you go into the store, as a customer, you consider that an experience. Our experiences are supported by the products within our infrastructure organization. We have infrastructure services that are components of those products that help us to deliver things like network and compute solutions to our customers so they can go and be innovative and create those apps. From there, from our infrastructure services, we set out objectives, goals, measures, and strategies. That equates into governance, capability, and our technological roadmap. And then at the bottom, the very foundation is the technologies and tools that we use, the resources that we provide, our budget, our process, our projects, and all of our assets. So infrastructure has implemented a business relationship management program in efforts to drive customer advocacy and strategic alignment with our business partners to mature our products, our services, our fulfillment process, and to enhance order-taking capabilities as we move on the journey to a true strategic partnership. Now, we have self-identified as order takers. We do operate in pockets of service provider behavior, but we want to make that something that we see across all of our services before we can identify as a true service provider. So we need to become so good at taking orders that our customers begin to trust our delivery and our fulfillment capabilities. But we know we have to operate on facts, not feelings. So we turn to data to give us a true, unbiased representation of where we are on this journey. We have introduced things like our annual infrastructure customer survey so we can really understand our customers' experiences with us and not base that on anecdotes, but on true data points. And then we've started to do a lot of reporting around consumption metrics so we can really understand what our customers' needs are, how well are we fulfilling those needs, and start to create a roadmap so we can eventually shape demand and forecast and prepare via capacity planning. So that way, whatever you need is always in stock within infrastructure. You don't ever have to go into an external cloud provider to get what you need. So nearly every organization across the globe is being shaken up by this digital transformation, while IT leaders race to leap ahead of the new customer expectations and behavior. By 2020, the organizations that have undergone digital transformation will be industry leaders, according to Gartner Consulting. Now, IT is more than likely not your company's primary business. Can I get a show of hands where that's the case? Same. So if you're not providing value to your company or your customers that you can demonstrate and that they can see and understand, then the reason for your existence is questionable. IT transformations will enable our businesses to compete in this shifting digital economy, and as an organization, we've decided that we want to do the following. We want to become a strategic delivery organization optimized to deliver critical services to the business faster. We want to respond effectively and efficiently to our customers' expectations of their technology experiences. We want to enable and strengthen the Home Depot's competitive advantage. We want to cut costs, ramp agility, and accelerate innovation. We want to create a culture that delivers continuous value. We'll use modern development practices in architecture. And we'll build high-quality, user-friendly technology at a lower cost. In infrastructure, we know where we're headed, and we're using data to get us there. First, we'll identify and understand the data sources and establish a data dictionary. We'll centralize our business intelligence efforts to create standards and trust. We'll create a culture of data-driven business decisions. And eventually, we want to get to a place where we can empower our end users with self-service analytics. Now, to perform analysis, data must become information. What can we do with the information? How are we empowered? A successful transformation relies on data. Organizational maturity is a measure of the organization's readiness and capabilities expressed through its people, processes, technology, and data, and the consistent measurement practices that are in place. At Home Depot, we would like to use data to do things like improve our costs, providing insights into where our spending is actually occurring, and identifying ways to reduce our total cost of ownership. We want to use data to increase productivity. We'll identify process inefficiencies, bottlenecks, and this will help us to free up resources so we can focus on our more strategic initiatives rather than keeping the lights on. We'll use data to bring stability into our environment. We'll provide visibility into our systems that aren't so resilient, and we'll reduce our incident resolution time and improve service levels. And lastly, we want to use data to increase customer satisfaction. Data can establish a clear value for your IT services, and transparency increases the trust between IT and its customers. In order to increase that trust, you have to provide visibility. The first dashboard that I would like to present to you is our consumption showback report. With this consumption showback report, we are sharing with our customers a true understanding of how much of our infrastructure services they're using, so they understand the value that we provide to them, and also create some shared responsibility for the total cost of ownership. Okay. So in this infrastructure request showback, we're taking into account the consumption of our products over the year to date. Some of the questions that our customers, especially our IT portfolio leaders, have is, how much am I spending in infrastructure, and what are the experiences that I support that make up that large amount of spending? So in this dashboard, we have provided by IT portfolio, that is our empowered IT customer, how much have you spent this year? And what are the experiences that make up that year-to-date spend? We show both year-to-date consumption and last month's consumption over time. Now you'll see over here on the right, we have year-to-date by product, and we have some products that are in gray. These products are still pending data. Now, when you start out on the IT transformative journey, you take inventory of where you are and where you know you need to go. You start to identify some of the gaps that you have in your data, and if your company is anything like mine, you have thousands and thousands of different data sources that you need to connect to get a holistic picture of what's going on in your portfolio. We are not there yet. As I mentioned, our transformation is a journey, not necessarily a destination, but we have come a long way in being able to quantify our services and the demand for those services. But we still have holes in our data. Having holes in your data means you can't improve what you can't measure. When maturity is measured against a standardized framework and scale, it normalizes the activity in a common language and forms a baseline for measuring improvement. Here's how we established our baseline. We defined some intakes, sent everything over to our ITSM tool of choice. This provided us that single source of truth that seems to be an enigma in data. This allowed us to start to be able to measure our services and point out where in our intakes and our delivery processes are there bottlenecks and abilities to automate some tasks. We established service level agreements. This helped us to create some really good performance indicators for measurement. We defined our cost models. Lots of IT services are absorbed by infrastructure, but in order to really understand the value that we provide to our customers, we need to define a cost per service for each of our services. This helps us to really understand our total cost of ownership. What is the true cost to provide and maintain and support our services? Which ones can we absorb? Which ones should we be charging back? And we measure our automation. This helps us to really understand our technology maturity. Which service lines have already implemented self-service and automation, and which prioritized services do we know that we need to enhance and throw some investment into for the upcoming years? To establish our baseline, we took to a very simple yet effective dashboard. We worked with our product owners and service providers to take inventory of all of IT infrastructure products and processes and measured them against that baseline so we could really get an understanding of our overall portfolio maturity. Using this baseline, we created roadmaps to improve service fulfillment processes and improve our organizational maturity. Now, one mistake that technologists tend to make is that you want to jump and use automation as a fix-all for all of your bad processes. It's important to note, technology transformation cannot succeed without organizational maturity, and that change comes in the form of process improvement. So how do you know what to automate? First, we decided that we needed to automate repeatable tasks. And a lot of these repeatable tasks we found were manual human intervention type tasks. Our network engineering team was empowered to make decisions to invest in resources to automate some of the repeatable tasks using a mix of project planning data and financial data. So coupled with some additional cost analysis information, the return on the investment was pretty clear. If you invest in resource spending up front to automate these repeatable tasks, you can quickly deliver risk-minimizing network automation solutions to avoid costly mistakes. Can you imagine going to the Home Depot and you get to the line and you're about to buy that new leaf blower and they tell you, oh, sorry, can't take your payment, the network's down? So when our IT infrastructure portfolio set out on our infrastructure transformation journey 2 years ago, our mission was clear. We need to offer infrastructure as a service. But how do we do that? We came up with some automation rules of the road. We allowed our infrastructure products and service owners to go out and create really valuable solutions within a few guidelines. Now you'll notice one of those is measurability. We are enforcing governance in all of our self-service capabilities that all of your customer consumption must be monitored, controlled, and reported on. So what does this mean to our customers? This means that we get to deliver faster, better, and more resilient infrastructure services to our IT partners who provide a foundation for innovation that will shape our customer experiences in the stores and online. This is how we support the One Home Depot. So here are the key takeaways. Home Depot is a technology company that just so happens to sell hammers. You must align with your IT organization's strategy with the business, so your customer relationship become a true strategic partnership. You must establish a baseline to measure improvements and understand your return on investments. You have to use data to identify automation opportunities where it makes sense. And you need to create standards that champion measurability alongside innovation. So let's do this. Okay, so we have two questions. The first is, what has been the hardest part of your transformation process? Well, I would like to say that aggregating data, pulling everything together, blending it would be something that we would find difficult, but we knew that this was going to happen when we started out on our transformative journey. But what we didn't account for was the behavioral shift that needed to change. A cultural mindset is what needed to change. You know, when you talk about change, there's three different buckets that everyone fits into. You're either the early adopters, you want to be the first to get that new cool thing going and get that out there. Then you have the slow to respond, but yeah, I'm bought in, but I want to see you do it first. And then lastly, you have that last 33% that's just not budging. So within our IT transformation process, I would say the most difficult thing to do was to change mindsets. Does the Home Depot have any BI or analytics departments that exist outside of IT? If so, how do you interact with them? It's a very great question. We actually have on our roadmap to create a business intelligence consortium. Within infrastructure first, we have pockets of users that are using Tableau to empower all of their data-driven business decisions, and we want to partner with them so we can all understand, you know, what are we all working on? We have some SMEs in operations, we have some SMEs in request fulfillment. So we want to come together so we can get a really holistic picture of what IT infrastructure is doing. Once we have accomplished that, then we do have intentions of creating an internal Home Depot user group because we do have a pretty large Tableau footprint at the Home Depot. It is our BI tool of choice. So eventually we do plan to get there. Okay. How far are you on the self-service journey? How many non-IT Tableau users do you have? Okay, so we are actually, we began the IT transformative journey about 3 years ago when we started to develop in some modern development practices, and our software engineering team started to really take on transformation. We still have a pretty long way to go, but we have actually already automated and provided some self-service options for some of our customers to really help them get a leg up on their innovation. For example, you know, we have automated our server delivery process. What this has done is it's allowed our app development teams to go spin up servers really, really quickly, like minutes, and test out some proof of concepts and really get out ahead on being able to try some new cool things in the stores rather than having to wait for, you know, 5 days to get a server. How many non-IT Tableau users do you have? I actually do not know the answer to that question. We in IT infrastructure don't own Tableau. That's actually our IT architecture portfolio that has implemented Tableau as our business intelligence solution. So I don't really have a look into our entire company's footprint with Tableau, but within infrastructure, I'm only aware of maybe 2 or 3 groups making up about 10 to 15 users. You mentioned it was all about changing culture. How did you influence changing culture? Top-down executive sponsors or bottom-up rally the team or other? So what we found is that the trickle-down economics within the organization just doesn't necessarily work. You definitely need your leadership buy-in to enforce the priority and the strategy. But what we also did was we started to work directly with all of our teams, our engineers, our help desk, our operations, to really start to drive that new infrastructure of one marketing campaign that we did. So we also invested in some marketing within our IT portfolio so that we can make sure that everyone understood what is the strategy, how are we going to get there, and got everybody excited about this new cool thing that we were doing. Any other questions? Hi.
I have a twofold question. One is, when you say customers, how do you define that? Is this the internal customer, the vendor, the external customer, all of the above?
Mhm.
So if you could talk more about that, and then the assumption that your customer is internal, which is what I get out of your presentation.
Mhm.
And how do you, so you charge each business owner your hours. I mean, you have obviously a model to charge, to allocate the cost to that. But then how do you translate that to the sales? You know, whatever is measurable that actually puts some perspective into how efficiently and effectively you do your work. You have to somehow connect to how your work translates to sales. So if you want to talk more about that.
Okay. Two really good questions. So yes, our IT customer are typically empowered IT portfolios. As I mentioned, we work within infrastructure, so we have infrastructure engineering, we have help desk and operations within our portfolio. But because the Home Depot IT organization is very large and we do a lot of our own software development within and engineering within the Home Depot, we do have some very large IT portfolios. So essentially, most of our customers are empowered IT users, but within help desk, we do support the stores and we deploy infrastructure out to the stores, and so we have to make sure that that's a supported model. So some of our services do permeate down into the stores. A lot of them stop at either IT portfolios or within the corporate business support at our store support centers. Like, can you imagine, someone from the store calling to order a server? So a lot of our services don't go all the way down to the stores. And then your other question was about how do you translate that into sales? Okay, so within this IT transformative journey, a lot of things that you hear about are cloud and scalability and reliability. If you look at some of the Home Depot seasonality trends for our sales, you'll find that we have some peak times where we have just outrageous activity going on in the stores. That would be like Black Friday, Spring Black Friday. But within infrastructure, we realized that your need for infrastructure during those times is going to be a lot higher than what it would be at some of the lower peak time or some of the lower seasonal trend times. So what that might look like within our organization is the ability to scale up servers and databases on demand to support the sales that are going on in the store. This allows our customers to not have to purchase infrastructure for the highest peak time of the year. You can purchase what you need right now, and with data, you can have a really good insight into your capacity and what's upcoming for you, so that way we can be really responsive and scalable. And our app teams that actually operate in the store can actually go and spin up more infrastructure as they need to support the activity, and then spin it back down when they don't need it. So what that translates into is significant cost savings, because if you have to buy, 500 servers and databases to support some applications that you have in the store, like our Home Depot application, then you don't have to pay for all of those servers up front, you just pay for what you need. Does that answer your question? Okay. Okay. Hi.
So when you're defining your services, I live in the infrastructure world too, and one of the challenges that we've had is, like, for example, you're spinning up the servers. It's not just a server, it's also in the data center, and there's storage, and there's network associated with it. When you're looking at your services, are you looking at it as a whole unit? And how did you then cross all those boundary lines to develop that service? Or are you looking at it for the service that the server team provides and the network team?
Right. So we actually are moving toward a product management model. So within the product management, you have like some sets of common services within that model. So what we did was we went and we took inventory of what are all of our customer-facing services that we provide, what are all of the things you can come to infrastructure and get, whether it be a good or a service. Once we really got a really good inventory of what those things are, we started to focus on which things make the most sense to automate first. And then once we were able to automate those things, then we started thinking about the ancillary services, like you mentioned, if I can go and spin up a server on demand, I need to also be able to spin up the storage on demand. So that's how we started to prioritize the investments that we're putting into our automation. Hi.
So on the dashboard, where you show percentage of tasks automated, like progress in automation. So is that inventory what you're using as like the denominator for that progress? 40% tasks are automated.
Okay, so. Right. So what we did was we went in and we decided some definitions on like what do these measures really mean. For automation, we just need to know that you have some sort of a process in place that you've automated. Like with our other elements that we use for measurability, for our intake, we knew that in order to get data and really measure our services, we needed a way to actually go and see that consumption data. So we decided that having all of our services be in our ITSM tool of choice would afford us the ability to measure them. And so we started to really understand where the data lived and start to measure that transition process from wherever it is, whether it be an email for the lower maturity services or some of our services that already existed in our ITSM tool of choice. So what this dashboard did was it took our inventory as a snapshot, and then over time, as we began to complete things on our transformative process, we would see that it started to move the needle on what those elements are. So when you're asking specifically about automation, I'm not sure that I really understand the question.
Services that you determine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering, so if you fully automate two of them, you're saying that you're 20% automated, correct? I'm just trying to understand how you define that.
Oh, right, yes. So like I mentioned, we have products, and then within that product category, we have services. If we are actually doing this on the service level.
What's an example of a product?
Like you wanted to see what's automated. Mm-hmm.
What's a real world example where you have product 1, product 2, and one has services?
Okay. So like I mentioned before, we automated server delivery process. So within the server product, we have many different offerings. We might have, all of the different kind of flavors of servers that you can get. We decided to identify those each as services because we have teams that deliver and build those. We have teams that support those. So each kind of server ended up being a kind of service that you can get within the overall server product. So if one of those server flavors got automated, then it counted as one service within the automation scale. Hi.
You mentioned one Home Depot.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
From a lot of organizations who have that segment. What does that mean at Home Depot? What was the driver for Home Depot?
Okay. So we are actually starting to go towards focusing on our customer experiences and ensuring that you have a seamless transition, whether you are shopping online, shopping in the store. We want all of the different experiences that you have to be one common service. The payment experience, for example, we are starting to truly understand and consolidate how we are accepting payments. And so we wanted an infrastructure to ensure that we are supporting that one overarching Home Depot strategy. And so we are starting to move towards providing the infrastructure that will allow our IT portfolio customers that actually support the stores to transition into the common services. You're welcome. Any other questions? Hi. Mhm.
Roadmap and develop it, kind of describe what that looks like and how it engage different folks in your customer community, whether it's Tableau or some of the data preparation tools like Alteryx or other things like that to make the whole process of doing self-service analytics just that self-service.
Okay. So we actually are we're in the infancy stage of our business intelligence capabilities. We started our team about a year ago, a little over a year ago. Right now we only have two full-time, we're actually three full-time analysts that are on this team. So right now we are focused on really understanding where does our data live. You know, we have lots of different data sources. We need to understand how to create some governance on the data and make sure that what goes in is can be trusted, essentially. And then one of the things that we want to do to get there is to really create like a data dictionary and understand, you know, what this means in this data source means this in this other data source. So that way, whatever data sources, whatever dashboards that we put out, anyone can go and understand truly what this thing is that we're measuring. And then after we get that governance in place and we create that trust from our customers that, you know, what we're telling you to help you solve your business problems is data that you can trust, then we kind of feel like that will create that culture of self-service analytics, because now we're data-driven. And we can really trust the data to help us guide where we are making our decisions, especially in things like automation. Hi.
Are you still working on that data dictionary for that?
Yes.
You still have gaps in
Mm-hmm.
data.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share what those gaps are? Where they come from? Have you been in salad, like you said, all the data sources?
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, so when you think about infrastructure and the kinds of products and services that we provide, a lot of those are the things within like our collaborative services, unified communication space. And we have a lot of external partners and vendors that we work with to provide some of our services. Getting external vendor data has probably been the most difficult out of all of our services, as we've been trying to go in inventory and understand where our data sources really are. So that's why you see some of the gaps in our data. The things that we can control by putting, you know, our processes and our intakes and our engagements for our products and services into our ITSM tool of choice, that has made the world of difference on us being able to go and get the data. You know, having a relational database that replicates all of the service data from that ITSM tool of choice really helped us consolidate data sources and really get a more broad picture of what's going on in the portfolio at large. So, does that answer your question? Okay. Okay. Mhm. Okay. And I'm sorry, what was the last question? Okay, so we started our infrastructure business intelligence team a little bit over a year ago. Right now, we are up to now 3 analysts, and under our manager, who we're a part of the strategy alignment arm of our portfolio. So we have some other partners that kind of roll up to the same leadership to really help us understand, like, what is the Home Depot strategy? How do we turn that into the strategy and the product roadmaps that we have within infrastructure? So that team is about 15. Okay. And then, I'm sorry, what was your other question? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Well, it is 10:55. There are no other questions.